Tom Hanks once starred in a movie with an army of strippers and a donkey. Michael J. Fox snorted coke through an entire film. And the first guy to play Hannibal Lecter wasn't Anthony Hopkins. Here's some extremely underrated 80s movies you've missed. In 1988, Robert Towne makes a romantic crime drama starring Mel Gibson, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Kurt Russell. On paper, that's a home run. Gibson plays a reformed drug dealer who gets pulled back in with the Mexican cartel. Russell's his friend in the sheriff's department. Pfeiffer's the woman caught between them. Add the DEA to the mix and you've got all the ingredients for something great. Except it didn't quite land that way. The performances are good, of course. Gibson, Pfeiffer, and Russell are all bringing serious sex appeal, and the chemistry works. The movie looks stylish, has this seductive atmosphere to it, feels slick. But the plot gets too convoluted. Too many twists, too many moving parts, and somewhere in there the whole thing loses its way. It's not a bad movie. It's just one of those films where you can see what it could have been if everything had clicked just right. All the pieces are there, but they don't quite fit together. So instead of being great, it ended up being pretty good. And pretty good doesn't stick around in people's memories. Richard Pryor gets the promotion of a lifetime and moves his family to Idaho. Everything that can go wrong does go wrong. That's the whole movie, and it's way more entertaining than it sounds. Pryor plays this dad trying to keep it together while his entire life falls apart around him. The movers they hired turn out to be criminals who hijack all their belongings and take them on a joyride to Mardi Gras. The guy they pay to drive their car is completely insane. The new job doesn't work out. Their neighbor's a psychopath. It just keeps piling on. Dana Carvey, Randy Quaid, and a bunch of other character actors show up and give it tons of personality. Annette Funicello and Frankie Avalon made a bunch of beach party movies in the 60s. Just some goofy and silly stuff that was huge at the time. By 1987, they were both in their 40s and someone had the idea to bring them back for one more. Back to the Beach is basically them making fun of their own genre. They play versions of themselves who've grown up, had kids, and gotten boring. Then they go visit their daughter in California and realize the beach lifestyle is still in them. The plot is almost non-existent, but that's not really the point. Funicello and Avalon have great chemistry together, the whole thing is packed with cameos and sight gags, and it's just aggressively silly in the best way. If you watched this thing on TV as a kid and loved it, it still works. Michael Mann adapts Thomas Harris's novel Red Dragon about an FBI profiler hunting a serial killer. William Peterson plays the profiler and Brian Cox plays Dr. Lecter. This is probably the best movie here, and it's the one that got screwed the hardest. When Anthony Hopkins played Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs 5 years later, that movie exploded. Became a cultural phenomenon. Won Oscars, Hopkins became the definitive version of the character. Then they remade Red Dragon in 2002 with Hopkins again, and Manhunter just got buried. People forgot it existed. Which is insane because it's a genuinely great film. Michael Mann directs the hell out of it. If you know his style from Heat or Collateral, it's all over this movie. The music's great, the performances are solid, and Mann balances all the stylish filmmaking with actual storytelling and character work. Before Tom Hanks was winning Oscars and playing serious roles, he made a sex comedy about the wildest bachelor party ever thrown. The whole movie is just Tom Hanks, a bunch of strippers, drugs everywhere, and at one point a donkey on pills. Bachelor Party came out in 1984 when these kinds of comedies were everywhere. The movie's completely over the top. You never know where it's going to go next, and just when you think it's hit its limit, it blows right through it. There's a character literally named Nick the Dick. It's juvenile and crude, but somehow it's actually funny. The jokes work, the shock value works, there's a ton of weird characters that somehow all fit together, and Hanks is hilarious in it. Bachelor Party made decent money when it came out, but once Hanks became a serious actor in the 90s, this movie basically disappeared from his filmography. Like it never happened. Nobody brings it up anymore. 1988, James Bridges directs Michael J. Fox in Bright Lights, and it's nothing like what people expected from him at the time. Fox plays this writer in New York whose life is completely falling apart. His career's going nowhere. His wife left him, his mother died, and he's dealing with all of it by doing cocaine and drinking himself into oblivion. It's about as far from Marty McFly as you can get. But what I like about Bright Lights is it doesn't lecture you about addiction or bad choices. It just shows you what it looks like when someone's drowning and can't figure out how to stop. Fox was huge in 1988. He was the guy from Family Ties and Back to the Future, the comedy guy everyone loved. Then he takes this movie where he's playing someone who's genuinely spiraling, and he commits to it completely, which is probably why it got overlooked. In 1988, people wanted something easier from him. Completely different energy with this next one. John Cusack plays a high school kid whose rich girlfriend and her family are going on vacation to the Caribbean, but he has to stay behind to take a makeup test. So he misses the trip, passes his test, and then decides he's going to track them down, even though he doesn't really know where they went. What follows is just disaster after disaster. Cusack's character keeps running into smugglers and killers and all these insane situations where everything that can go wrong does go wrong. The whole movie is just Cusack bouncing from one mishap to another, trying to catch up with his girlfriend's family while everything explodes around him. It hits all the road trip comedy beats you'd expect, but Cusack's energy and charm carry the whole thing. It's the kind of movie that would have been huge if it came out a different year, but it just got lost in 1987. Robert Zemeckis directed this one before he made Back to the Future. Romancing the Stone came out in 1984, and it was actually pretty popular at the time, but then it got this reputation as an Indiana Jones knockoff and kind of disappeared. Kathleen Turner plays a romance novelist whose sister gets kidnapped in Colombia, and the kidnappers want her to bring them a treasure map in exchange for her sister. So she goes there, teams up with this soldier of fortune played by Michael Douglas, and they end up hunting for the treasure themselves. Danny DeVito shows up as the villain. The Indiana Jones comparison hurt this movie's legacy, which is a shame because it's doing its own thing. The chemistry between Turner and Douglas is electric. They're constantly sparring and flirting, and the whole dynamic just works. They're running through jungles, dodging bad guys, bickering the whole time, and it's just entertaining from start to finish. It was a hit when it came out, but over time people just stopped talking about it and it got overshadowed by bigger adventure movies from the 80s. Which is too bad because it holds up really well. 1986 was a crazy year for action movies with everything competing for attention, and Eye of the Tiger just got lost in the noise. Gary Busey plays a Vietnam vet who gets out of prison and comes home to find his small town taken over by this vicious motorcycle gang, so he has to take them down. It's basically every action movie revenge plot you've seen, but Busey goes all in on it. The movie doesn't do anything new with the story, it's hitting all the standard beats, but you can't tell that from watching Busey, Yaphet Kotto, and William Smith because they're all playing it like it matters. Busey especially is in full action hero mode and he's got great chemistry with Kotto, and William Smith as the villain is perfectly sadistic. The practical action looks great and the whole thing has this exploitation movie energy that makes it fun to watch. Disorganized Crime came out in 1989, and it's a heist movie where everything goes wrong before the heist even starts. A career criminal puts together a crew for a big job and then gets arrested before they can pull it off, so his crew has to try and do the heist without him even though they're all kind of incompetent. It's a comedy of errors where the joke is these guys have no idea what they're doing. The plot is pretty surface level and it's not trying to be Ocean's 11 or anything, but the ensemble chemistry and the lighthearted tone make it work. You're just watching these guys stumble through a heist and screw everything up in increasingly funny ways. It came out at the tail end of the 80s and just got forgotten, but if you're looking for something light and entertaining, it's worth checking out.